So this is the first thing I think this week on AI. So I'm going to, I know, right? So why don't we see what this is about here? But first, who am I? I'm Nate Walck. I'm Client Platform Engineering at Meta. And I also started MacAdmins Open Source, the nonprofit organization. And we are now officially fully nonprofit, so we're good to go on that side. All right, so AI. Not Apple Intelligence, I'm afraid, or artificial, but we have AI here. So what I decided to do was, give it access to some of the tools that we use and see what happened, because that's the rational thing to do, right? So here we go. I need some information. So I want the monkey version. I want my macOS version. Why don't you go ahead and get that for me? This is basically just using an API that's available, and I have code that I'll be giving at the end. And I just said, hey, give me this information, put both into a user prompt. So of course, why not? Swift dialog. It popped that up. It populated it with information. It just basically used the defaults because I didn't tell it to do anything other than that. And thankfully, it can't think too much for itself yet. But this is a little bit ugly, right? It's, it's kind of all merged together. It's not formatted well. So instead of changing the code, because I couldn't be bothered to do that, but I know that Swift Dialog supports Markdown, so I just asked. Yeah, that's basically it. Just asked, and yeah, it kind of knew what to do with that a little bit. Gave me a bulleted list. Everything's a little bit easier to read here. So, this is fine and all. It's cute, but why don't we do something slightly more interesting? So, for instance, our users need to update their machines. That's a common workflow. So instead of nudge or scripting it with Swift Dialog, I'll just ask for that instead. So this is what I asked, and we're going to see what it comes up with here. And, the AI is doing this. So, I'm not responsible for what it says, right? Right? It's the AI. So this is what it came up with. It's a little bit verbose. It's a little bit long. It tends to go to this direction whenever you ask it anything. This is another variation. I just ran the same exact prompt again, and then I ran it again. And yeah, it's a little bit different every time, still very verbose. So, we all know that's too much. In modern times, people are very busy on their machines. They're doing important things. They can't be bothered to update their machines. So we want to make sure that we are concise. So it obliged. It's a little bit more concise, a little bit less wordy. Another variation, also a little bit boring, kind of, whatever. It's like, okay, here we go. Keep your machine up to date. So, but on the other hand, we know that it takes a lot to really cut through, those addicting scrolling apps. So why don't we make it a little bit harder for them to ignore? So what that looks like is a little bit like this. It's a different emoji every time, too. I didn't even ask for the emoji. Isn't that great? There's an emoji. Yep. Yeah, there we go. Well, wait. What's behind? Oh, no. Oh, God. And then I'm rage shaking my mouse because I'm so angry. I just want to go back to TikTok. There we go. Great. All right. But, maybe they don't know how to actually do the update. So we need to help them with that part of it, too. So I just asked. And I had to fast forward it because I didn't want to sit through it again. But boom, it popped it up. There we go. So it's now giving them the message 10 times and then popping it up and giving them the action to take. So I'm just going to say, great success. It worked lovely, didn't it? If you want the code on this, it's actually very straightforward. It's not nearly as complicated as I thought it was going to be, but that's the code right there. And I thought, Wes inspired me. We're going to go live. I wasn't planning on this, but we're going to go live. Yeah. And then, let's see. Oh, no. How do I get it off of mirroring? I don't know how the computers work. There we go. Got it. All right, so we're going to do the same sort of thing, but we're going to ask for a different style. So this time we're going to ask it to blur the window, because I learned that during Bart's talk. So let's try that, see what happens. So what it's doing is it's contacting the API, it's getting information back, it's sending information to it, getting information back, and then going back and forth until it figures out what it needs to do. So here it's now blurring out the background, which I gave it a tool, and in the tool I had to add the information to tell it, this is what you do to make it blur, and this is what you do to make it not blur, and then it kind of figures it out based on what you ask it. So that's all lovely. So that's a little bit boring though, so let's do it in the style of like Joker writing a letter to Batman or something, because why not? So it's going back and forth, getting the information, talking to the API. Yeah, perfect. And he used Comic Sans. So evil, so evil. All right, someone give me a different style. What are we going to go for? What style? Anybody? Anybody? Hitchhiker's Guide? All right. Okay, here, why don't we just do this? Okay, sea shanty is good. All right. We're going to ask the user to update their machine in the style of a sea shanty. Use a Pirate E font, please. See what happens. I didn't give it a say tool. I'm not ready for it to talk. All right, there we go. Woohoo! All right. So yeah, if you want to play with this yourself, you can check it out on the repo. Let me put that back up actually, because I went through that pretty quick. Oh no, I'm scared to open my downloads folder with my screen share. Let's go back to Keynote here. Sure. We might not be, never mind. Let's see. Let's go right to the end. Boom. But if anybody wants to grab that. One thing I am interested in doing, but I haven't actually gotten to yet, is maybe trying to train it on, say, Apple documentation, and then just seeing what it does. And then maybe we could make like a Slack bot for it. So you can be like, /MacAdmin AI, help me find this thing or do this thing, and see what it gets you. But yeah, there we are. This is AI applied to systems management with only 3 tools. But yeah, there you go.